Hello and welcome to Warcraft Daily for today the 25th of January 2014. So in today's news we pretty much have patch 5.4.7. Not too sure why the 0.7's there, but basically it's a new patch was pushed to the PTR and a whole bunch of data mining and the usual sort of thing has happened. First of all, we have the new mount. Now this is the full 3D model version of the mount that I was able to show yesterday. Basically, Blizzard had promoted it through social media and that kind of thing, and we now know that it is this thing called the Dread Raven. Seeing it in 3D is pretty great, actually, and it looks essentially as good as I thought it would. I really just do think it's a pretty mount. I did like the Raven Lord, but seeing a sort of less twisted, corrupted kind of version of it, and being able to fly and all those different things is definitely a good thing. Anyway, so there may be one or two visual glitches on the video because the WoW model viewer has a bit of an issue with the wings spell effects, and I would have used the MMO champion one, but it's got these horrific watermarks everywhere and you can't really put it unobtrusively into a video. It's kind of painful to the eye. But anyway, I think this is a really nice pet. And one thing that's worth saying, a lot of people have said to me that because there's no flying until 6.1 in Warlords, that they shouldn't really be giving a mount like this. I think it was with the Sky Reaver, a lot of people were saying that. And I think what they don't realize is, these mounts can all walk on the ground. Like, this is a flying mount, but in the same way the Raven Lord can, it can still run about the place. So it's not really a valid, reason that, I guess, and yeah, whatever. We will be able, of course, to use this in the rest of the world, so there's no point in denying a explicitly flying mount just because there won't be any flying in Draenor until 6.1. Anyway, so in addition to this new mount, we also got a pet, and it's called the Dread Hatchling, and it's, it's pretty much just the usual kind of cute and fantastic deal. I just think it looks really nice. Now, the Collector's Edition always comes with a mount and a pet, as we know. And in the pet journal on the PTR, it says that the source of the pet is the Collector's Edition. So overall, this means the two of these are going to be the Warlords of Draenor Collector's Edition. Overall, this is pretty good. I'm very glad it's not another store mount, because I think that would have been just a little bit too much if it were. And I guess, actually, there's a pretty good case to be made that after Siege of Orgrimmar and like the Corcoran Wolf and a whole bunch of things like that, people may be a little bit tired of this whole Horde theme. So perhaps a Ravenlord mount would be a welcome change, and I can certainly see that. Honestly, I do like the look of this Raven Lord, and I will be getting it. Now, what does this appearance tell us? Basically, this appearing in the PTR and then being promoted by Blizzard. Well, this probably means that the pre-order is probably coming up rather soon, actually. Blizzard wouldn't have promoted this via social media if it wasn't like for an imminent pre-order. So, yeah, this is going to happen. Of course, with the pre-order, if you pre-order the Collector's Edition, or the Digital Deluxe even, you'll get the mount and the pet. And I think previously the Digital Deluxe was about, maybe $10, €10, £10, whatever, like 10 of your currency, which is, by the way, not very nice for some of us. I'm not too sure exactly, but it was a little bit more expensive. It does come with this. In comparison to the in-game store pricing, it's quite good. So I think that's fair enough. But, yeah, I don't know, since I'm getting the physical Collector's Edition, I'm going to have to wait to get this mount, which is kind of a pity, but I think the physical Collector's Editions are very nice, especially if you're into the kind of whole game art thing, and just having nice stuff to put in my shelf of interesting items. Anyway, so let's talk about the rest of the patch information. So, first of all, oddly enough, 5.4.7, despite us only being on patch 5.4.2 at the minute. This is really strange. It could just be an error, though, so I don't know, there's not really much we can say about that. Now, they have actually basically announced, so they haven't announced themselves, but because of the new strings that have been added to the client, we now know a little bit more about the character boost. The important strings are character upgrade, no veteran bonus, and then character upgrade, profession boost, veteran bonus, level 60 characters will also receive a skill level boost to their primary professions. So yeah, what does this mean? Well, if your character's over level 60, and the chances are its professions will be boosted up. Now, there's no actual word on how much they are boosted or anything like that, and we can't test it on the PTR at the minute, but I guess that this is conducive to players being able to, the whole idea of being able just to play from level 90 and never have to look back. And I think that's fair enough. It's funny, this whole thing, I nearly wish. This is strange, and this is totally a only personal thing, but I really enjoy everything up until Cataclysm, then I hate Cataclysm and Pandaria for leveling, and that kind of thing. So, I don't know. I hope Warlords doesn't end up being as shitty as the leveling experiences as the last 2 expansions. But anyway, there'll probably be a video on that sometime. Let's get on to the actual rest of the news. So firstly, a quick little thing. They have increased the item level of the gear sold by Mistweaver Eye on the Timeless Isle from 476 to 489, so it's going to be a little bit better, and that's essentially it. I guess it was very strange that that stuff was 476 in the first place. Some of them had cool effects, like that trinket that would teleport you to the Isle, but other than that, they were just kind of useless. I didn't really think there was much point of them being such a low item level, so this is definitely good. But anyway, the next major just sort of WoD news is for the PvPers. So first of all, the Prideful Gladiator's gear has been upped in terms of item level to 550 in preparation for the Season 15, and oddly enough, as noted by MMO Champion, they reversed the colours for the factions. It seemed to me like Horde Season 15 was the same as Alliance Season 14. Now, I think that this doesn't make much sense, so there's a good chance that really, like, that's just like a PTR thing, and we'll get the proper gear soon for Season 15. Now that said, it does seem a little bit strange putting out a full set of gear for Season 15 that's new and has new art, so maybe they are just going to swap around the colours and give people these different colours of gear. I'm not really sure, but I think sometimes the Alliance aesthetics maybe wouldn't suit the Horde aesthetic as much. Not really sure about that, but anyway, essentially what we do know is Prideful Gladiator is now 550 instead of 540. This actually does bring it rather close to PvE gear. So that's definitely interesting, and it means that you'll be able to get into Siege of Orgrimmar probably with a set of PvP gear and be able to do rather well. Odd, but yeah, I guess this is what happens when there's a patch that increases the PvP item level, but doesn't really touch the PvE one. One thing that is worth talking about, though, is that in Warlords, they do want to keep the PvE and PvP item levels a little bit more similar, and then just have the inherent stats on the gear, like PvP power, etc., basically be what makes one piece better in PvE than the other, as an example. So that should mean that in World PvP it won't be as bad as it is at the minute, but still, I mean, we don't really know exactly how they're going to implement that, so it's hardly really worth talking about now. Anyway, so the dampening effect in arenas, which is what decreases, I think it's healing received or something like that, healing done every 10 seconds after a certain period, is being changed. It now happens at 5 minutes instead of 10. This basically means that they just want arenas to be a bit shorter, I suppose. I don't know, I mean, I have had 10-minute long arenas, and they have been tense as hell, and I've really enjoyed them. So, I'm not really too sure if that's the best decision. Like, do we really want arenas to be so quick and snappy? I don't know, but I suppose that this dampening effect only really hits a critical mass maybe at the 10-minute mark anyway, so I don't know. This is one for the hardcore arena people to talk over. Anyway, next, this is actually something that's going to affect a lot of people. The Rares and Karasang Isles, which will drop 250 honor every time you kill them, will only drop honor once per day. Now, what does this mean? Well, there wasn't this thing where people would use OQ to swap between different realms and then kill off these rares. This would mean that you could max yourself out in honor every single day, multiple times, and you could essentially, if you were to put the time into it, get a full set of honor gear. Like, yeah, full set of PvP honor gear in one day, as opposed to maybe a week that it would take normally. That's definitely a bit of an issue. And I think after this change, the best thing that you could probably do is just hop into Tulbarad and Wintergrasp and take the easy win. Still though, they are very much shutting down that method, which is fine because it was more of an exploit of systems. I don't want to say exploit in terms of the OMG ban kind of way, I just mean it was kind of clever use of mechanics, and now they're fixing those mechanics. So I suppose it does make kind of a bit of sense. Anyway, next, the Celestials will also drop this Prideful gear, that makes sense, and this basically does say that since the Celestials are being upgraded to drop Prideful gear, this means you won't be getting any new world bosses or anything like that would drop the new Prideful gear. And that, I guess, lends credence, or at least some credence, to the idea that we probably are not going to be getting much in the way of PvP content. Sorry, PvE content. I don't know what I think about that. Maybe if they were to do this patch, then maybe a little bit of PvE would be nice. Maybe a quest or two. Something to explain what's going on with Garrosh. I think that would make complete sense. But anyway, they've also increased the base resilience up to 77%, and they've adjusted the diminishing return curve for resilience so that the new base resilience will have the same value per point as it previously had. Next, Battle Fatigue will also reduce healing received by 65% up from 55%, and these changes are all just to keep the higher item level of PvP gear in check. And then finally, they have also buffed the Alteric Valley NPCs in terms of HP and damage. This is interesting. I wonder if they've buffed them enough to the point where, like, it actually has an effect. Say, maybe the Frostwolf Bowmen actually start to do damage. The Frostwolf Grunts that you find just walking around the place can actually legitimately cause issues for players. I think AV's weird. It just turned into this 20-minute Zerg on the vast majority of games. And that's kind of sad because it does actually have a lot of really cool mechanics built into it, like upgrading your troops, and capturing the mines, all these different things. I don't know. I guess if they could tweak it so that it would be maybe 3-4 times as long as it is now, and then they were to increase the honor rewards appropriately, I actually think it could make a really nice kind of alternate thing for instance PvP. But anyway, that's pretty much it for today's news. Let me know what you think of this new mount. I think it is very cool. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. Please like, comment, blah blah blah, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I will see you next time.